What's up, NASCAR racing fans? You're watching the Nitro Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel. And today we got qualifying for the very first short track on the schedule at Martinsville Speedway. Today we're using the old school start gate from season 1 and capping the field at 36 for that reason. This is also the last race we shot before people started nailing in replacement cars. So you'll see those starting with the mods race. And we also introduced the HSL tow truck. It'll be towing away the El Recos from the crash site from here on out, starting in the upcoming stocks race. And that'll just give me some more time for extra commentary. With our points leader, William, going up against Jimmy Johnson, who was revealed to be Jimmy, our very first NASCAR Nitro Series winner last year, and the highest ranked field filler from last season. Since we got an odd number of entries, that's who's going to go up against the points leader, and I saw that coming. Jimmy's pretty far behind a full track segment length. It's probably going to be the same result for Jimbo Rockford and Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, of course, has yet to register a point in the Nitro Series, and Jimbo Rockford is making quick work of him, almost beats him by the entire length of the turn there. And it looks like he may not finish, and he doesn't. He will have to race his way in the last chance qualifier. And up next, it's Morgan Shepherd, who came out of nowhere to score 2 top 5s in the first 3 races and be a legitimate title contender, using a casting that pretty much everybody else written off. Competing against him is Vinny Oonce Nightlife, who is currently 3 for 3 with DNFs and the bottom of the points for all the full-time drivers. And it looks like Morgan Shepherd's going to make quick work of him, beats him by 3 car lengths. And up next is Sawyer, who scored his first ever top 10 at Le Mans and got to race alongside the modifieds as a reward, going up against Tristan Racewelski, who has a couple of top 5s this season, and Sawyer goes flying off the track. That is a DNF for him. He will have to race his way in the last chance qualifier. Tristan doesn't risk tearing his equipment up at all. Tristan's basically gifted a trip to the next round right there. And up next, it is Skeeter Davis in the number 80. Up against Lord Shank in the number 13. Skeeter Davis responsible for some of the best highlight reels of the season so far. And Lord Shank is putting up a fight. Look at them neck and neck. And I spoke too soon. That's an El Reco for Lord Shank. He will have to race his way in the last chance qualifier too. And now up next, it's Richie, your winner at Le Mans, going up against the veteran Coffee Tart, trying to turn her bad luck season around. And Coffee Tart gets off to a great start. Has a 2 car length lead over Richie, but goes flying off the track just like Lord Shank as Richie cruises his way into the next round. Now Coffee Tart, once again at risk of missing the event. Up next, it's N-Count in the number 37 for Chase Family Racing, and Gator McCluskey in the 91 for Po' Boy. These cars have similar axles and chassis. They are neck and neck, and Gator McCluskey goes flying. Those Hot Wheels Pro racers do not like the outside lane. That is 4 in a row that are going to have to race their way in the last chance qualifier. And up next, it is Clyde and Nessa Force. Nessa Force in the outside, looking to be the first Australian driver to finish a lap from the outside lane. And she makes it through there. They are neck and neck, Clyde and Nessa Force. What an intense battle. Clyde throws a devastating block in the turn, and Nessa Force just ran out of real estate right there. And up next, we have Crazy Ruby in the 72 on the outside, and Johnson Jr., your all-time NASCAR Nitro Series wins leader, on the inside. And this is why Crazy Ruby is getting a replacement car for next race. Another outside DNF for a big-name builder, and Johnson Jr. slides on to the next round with ease. Now, in the next round, it is Isaac versus Rowan. And Rowan must be shaking in his boots about starting in that outside lane with such a top-heavy car. Gets off to a somewhat decent lead, makes his way through the turn without incident. Regular Isaac sort of overdrives it coming out of the turn to catch up, pinballs off the wall, and loses all of his momentum. And up next, it is Rusty Wallace and Riot Isaac. Both of them kind of in the middle of the pack, outshined by their teammates in points, and looking to turn their season around here. And Rusty Wallace gets a decent jump out of the gate, opens up a 3-car length lead on the backstretch, increases that lead through the turn, and it'll be Rusty Wallace moving on to the next round. And up next, it is Baby Richie, who's getting a new car for the mods, going up against Violet. And the gates are down, and Violet gets a great jump out of the gate. Looks really smooth through the split turn, and shoots out of there like a bullet from a gun, leaving Baby Richie in the dust. What an upset. Violet moves on to the next round. Baby Richie's got to hope and pray he wins the tiebreaker race. Up next, it is Pantone versus Terry Labonte. They are neck and neck heading out of the gates. Terry Labonte getting a decent run out of the split turn, has about a car length, 2 car length lead heading into turns 2 and 3. Gets a little loose there. He was complaining about a vibration earlier. Moves on to the next round, and now it's time for some field fillers. E. Marshall beats out Christian Fittipaldi, and Richard Petty beats out A.J. Foyt there. This is Phil Parsons and David Stremme, and neither of them finished the lap. Up next, a pair of Hall of Famers, Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart, and Tony runs away with that one. Casey Atwood and Paul Menard, and Atwood wins that one. Up next, it's Jerry Nadeau, and whoever just flew off the track there, he's not going to race. And neither will Russ Wheeler. Lord Raymond beats him there. Up next, it's Bruce Lee and Bud Moore, and neither of them finish. And up next is B.J. McLeod and the Gravedigger. And Matt Kenseth and Kyle Petty is up next, and neither of them finish. Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney. Bubba Wallace is in. Up next is Jamie McMurray and Stacy Compton. McMurray wins that one. And up next it's Harry Gant versus Stinger, and Stinger wins that. Up next it's the second chance heat race. All the drivers that finished their lap but lost will have a chance to race their way into a better starting spot on the outside. And looks like Isaac's not going to do it. You see Texas Terry Labonte's car in there. His chassis popped loose at the end of his qualifying run, so Pantoni's driving it to make sure it's okay. He says everything's okay so far. Completes that lap with relative ease. He'll be starting next to Baby Richie, who ran away with it after the outside lane exploded on itself. Vinny Nightlife is in a good spot to take that second spot. And the gates are down, and Pantoni and Baby Richie are neck and neck. Pantoni's got a slight edge heading into the turn. Baby Richie throws a double block on him and Vinny Nightlife, and it's a neck and neck race for the second spot. Pantoni, driving Texas Terry's car, takes it. No problems reported, and now he's got a tall task ahead of him trying to beat our points leader William to move on to the next round. William has a car length and a half lead, but Texas Terry is catching up. Tags his bumper coming out of turn 4. Rear ends him pretty hard coming after the finish line, and his Chinesium chassis just exploded into 3 different pieces. I've never seen anything like this break on the track. This is just a devastating injury. Who knows if he'll even come back from this. It's going to take some pretty time-intensive surgery to fix this, especially using only the parts that came off of this vehicle. And our staff is going to work as hard as we can to put him together as well as we can. We can only hope he returns to his original form. Of course, he won't be racing today, and you hate to see something like that happen, but the show must go on. We have our first winner of the second chance race, Baby Richie, going up against Jimbo Rockford, one of the favorite championship contenders. And look at Jimbo Rockford, El Reco coming off of the inside turn. Just terrible luck for someone who's looked unstoppable in qualifying and segment racing all throughout the first 3 races. And we have Pantoni, our second place finisher, going up against Texas Terry's teammate, Morgan Shepherd. Morgan Shepherd's got a lot of extra to race for now. Racing for his teammate who's been towed back to the garage, and we have no idea what the prognosis is yet. And Texas Terry just blows the doors off of Pantoni there. To move on, and our next grouping is going to be Tristan Racewelski versus Violet, who had the upset of the first round, zipping past Baby Richie out of the gate from the outside lane. Tristan Racewelski's not going to make it as easy. He gets a car length and a half lead coming out of the split turn, and he stays steady throughout the rest of the track, moving on to the next round. And our next pairing is going to be Skeeter Davis and Rusty Wallace. Skeeter Davis has to be the heavy favorite here. He's constantly shown more speed than Rusty Wallace, but his car is pretty top heavy. Survives the ruthless split turn that's been eating the fast but light cars all day. But Rusty sure as heck didn't make it easy for him. Skeeter Davis moves on to the next round. And up next, it's Normal Richie versus Rowan. Last week's winner, he gets some insane pushback from the start gate. And this track doesn't give you much real estate to recover, and it looks like Rowan is going to pull off another upset from the outside. And up next, we have 2 T-Bird Stalkers, different generations, though. We have N Count in the 37 for Chase Family Racing, and Johnson Jr., your all-time wins leader for the home team. And N Count goes flying off the track. He's going to have a mediocre starting spot, and Johnson Jr. moves on to round number 3. And up next, we have Clyde and Nessa Force. Showed a lot more traction than a lot of the other muscle cars, and she stays glued to the track unlike her teammate. But going up against one of the McDonald's twins is not an easy task, and he will beat her by a car length. And now it's time for the next round of the pole qualifying tournament. We have the McDonald's twins going up against each other. Clyde got some pushback from the start gate right away. That opens the door for William to get a 2-car length lead. Clyde is closing in. They are in identical cars, but that last-ditch effort is a little too late for Clyde. William will be moving on. Up next, we have Baby Richie and Johnson Jr. Baby Richie, who won the second chance race and then won the next round of qualifying, get some serious pushback from the gate, a problem for all of Puff's cars today. And that allows Johnson Jr. to overtake him from the outside lane. What a dominant win for him. Speaking of dominance in the outside lane, look at Skeeter Davis. Gets a car length lead coming out of the split turns, but Tristan did not make it easy for him. And up next, we have Rowan in the number 44. Yeah, I grabbed the wrong car again. I was filming this on like 3-4 hours of sleep. Versus Morgan Shepherd. I cannot believe I did that twice in one video. Well, that car won last week, so it's not like I put a slow car in there and Morgan Shepherd wins. It ultimately doesn't affect anything. They'll still both be in the same bracket when I draw. We have William and Skeeter Davis. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty here. The final four drivers. William, our points leader, gets about a bumper length lead coming out of the inside turn, but Skeeter Davis overtakes him on the outside. They are neck and neck, and Skeeter wins it. We're going to slow that down in slow motion. You can see where exactly he made that pass. William is not giving up. It's a bumper length margin throughout the whole distance of the track, and we're slowing down and zooming in the finish once more, frame by frame. Look at that, one of the closest finishes we've ever seen in the NASCAR Nitro Series. And who is going to go up against Skeeter Davis for the pole? Is it going to be Morgan Shepherd or is it going to be Johnson Jr.? The Fords have dominated this round. 3 out of the 4 cars in the final 4 are Thunderbirds. And yet another side-by-side neck-and-neck battle. Johnson Jr. has a slight edge. Morgan Shepherd reverse side drafts him in the turn. Racing for his teammate. He'll be going up against Skeeter Davis for the pole. And Skeeter Davis has more straight line speed, but he is on the outside with a fast, light, and top-heavy car. The gates are down, and Skeeter Davis jumps off to a car length lead early. Stays glued to the track throughout the split turn. Morgan Shepherd has nothing for him, uses all of his energy to get here, and it's Skeeter Davis is your pole sitter for the Cheap Hot Dog 400 at Martinsville. And now it is time for round 1 of the second chance qualifiers. We have a Cut Rock Creek Racing front row for this one. Sawyer in third, and cautions out for a double El Reco. Sawyer gets thrown off the track from the inside lane after looking really good coming out of the gate. Less surprising is Christian Fittipaldi doesn't even make it through the split turn. He was one of the worst drivers in Lord Shank's series last year, and he won't be registering any points this week. As the official HSL drone surveys the wreckage, there's Christian Fittipaldi's car. Now, moving on to lap number 2. It's a 4-car race. We have Crazy Ruby leading off to start. Coffee Tart in the second row. And Ryan Blaney plows under Coffee Tart. And she has next to zero traction heading into the split turn. And cautions out for an El Reco. Crazy Ruby flips heading into turn 3. And look at Coffee Tart going from dead in the water to dominating that lap. Coffee Tart and AJ Foyt will be racing in the Martinsville Cheap Hot Dogs 400. And now for the second round of the last chance qualifier, we have Gator McCluskey and Lord Shank. And look at Lord Shank get punted into the air by Stacy Compton. That backfires on him. Some instant karma from last season's Wooden Spoon Award winner. And Gator McCluskey is running away with this first lap. Lord Shank has to battle his way back from 4th, stuck behind 2 very slow cars. And now it's time for lap number 2. Stacy Compton starting in last after getting flipped off the track trying to wreck Lord Shank. And Gator McCluskey led the first lap by half the track. He's looking to get right back into it on this lap. Lord Shank is jammed up and cautions out for an El Reco. Gator McCluskey's on his roof. He will not be racing, and this time his showboating backfires. Paul Menard and Lord Shank sneak by him at the very last second. Those two will be racing. We'll have a total of 34 cars. 1 out of respect for Terry Labonte, and 1 because half these field fillers can't even finish a lap. And here are your draws. Positions 3 through 11, good draws for William there, and Clyde, both the McDonald's twins. Richie got a decent draw. Force got a decent draw. Better luck next time for Tristan and Rowan. Second round losers there. And here's some guys to fill out the middle of the pack. Vinny Nightlife had some bad luck there with the draw. And here are the field fillers and the drivers that had to race their way in. And it looks like AJ Foyt is going to be starting in last place. And we had 2 field fillers draw the same card, Richard Petty and E. Marshall. So they're going to drag race each other based on last year's points. And Richard Petty wins that. So this is your starting lineup for the Cheap Hot Dogs 400 at Martinsville. That empty spot for Terry Labonte in Section 5, as long as I can get his car fixed. He will have a second round bye in the next qualifying because he did earn his way a good starting spot before the 30-year-old Chinese medal gave way. And Rowan too, because I grabbed the wrong car setting up the track. So here is your starting lineup. So Rowan may have actually dodged a bullet avoiding that. Congratulations to Po Boy for Skeeter Davis getting the pole. And if you want to see your cars on my channel, send your cars to P.O. Box 7, Wingap, PA. Address it to HSL Diecast. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see yous on the track.